Okay, we're going to go over the financial aid. As you see, Deborah, Vivian, LaQuina, Jason, all of y'all said that it was 1,484 pages, 1,484 pages. The good news is, I give y'all the bad news first. Bad news, I'm not going to go through all 1,484 pages with y'all step by step today. The good news, I'm going to give y'all the fast track, the most important components that y'all need to know. So let's break down the financial aid. Now, in order to be able to accept financial aid, you must be accredited. That's why all the schools, or 99% of them, want to be accredited. Because if you're not accredited, you cannot get approved for financial aid. You can't get the Pell grants. Pell grant for both award years is up to $10,550. Subsidized and subsidized and unsubsidized student loans is up to about 15, 16,000. When you become accredited, your next step is applying with the U.S. Department of Education. That process usually takes about 3 to 4 months if you have a proven team submitting your paperwork online for you. Okay. So that's why people want to become accredited, because they want to be able to get all that government money. The Pell grant, let's talk about Pell grants. Pell grant, that's money that you do not have to pay back. That's free money. So if a student started your school, just say it was 1,500 hours, a Cosmo, Barber course, or whatever. I'm just giving you an example. Some of y'all may have more hours or less. For both award years, they could qualify for a total of $10,550. It's income based, meaning they look at your taxes, you put that in the computer and it tallies it up. What if they didn't file tax? Then that's great. They don't have no taxes to submit, so there's no income basically. So 9 times out of 10, they'd qualify for a full Pell. Well, what if they did taxes and they had dependents or whatever? Depending on how many the computer does a computation, they still may qualify for a full Pell. Or they may not qualify for a full Pell. They may get 9,000, 8,000, 6,000, 5,000. That just depends on how much money they made based on their taxes. Now, let's talk about the reasons why they couldn't qualify for the financial aid. If they went to another school and defaulted on a student loan, just say they went to George School, George Sanders, and then they defaulted on their student loan, and then they came over here to Jason's and Karen's school. The first thing you're going to do is put their name, social, date of birth into this database on the computer. It's called the NSLDS system. And that's basically a system when you become accredited and get approved for financial aid, the government is going to give you this link for your private portal for your school. So when a student comes in, hey, I want financial aid, the first thing you're going to do is pull up your NSLDS system, and you're going to put that student's name, date of birth, and social in there. It's going to automatically pop up and show their history of student loans. It's going to show their condition, whether they're in default or whether they're not in default. If they went to another school and they're not in default and they join your school, you want to have them to fill out a form called a deferment. That means they don't have to pay on the previous school student loans while they're enrolled in your school. Now, another thing, if a student made a lot of money based on their taxes, they may not qualify for a Pell grant, okay, which is the free money. If the student is younger than 24 and they don't have any kids, they are not married, they haven't been in the military, then that means they're considered as dependent. Well, what if the student don't live with their mom or daddy? But what if the student's been working on their own? It doesn't matter. If they're under 24 and they don't have no kids, they ain't been in the military, haven't been married, the government considers them as being dependent, meaning their student is going to have to get their parents' tax return papers. Okay. I'm just giving y'all the rules. Don't ask me why. These are the rules. Now, the student may not qualify for Pell Grant because their parents made a lot of money. That's okay. If you do the student loan program, they can still qualify for student loans because that's not income based. So they still may get 15, 16,000 student loans. Student loans, it's a very low interest rate. The student does not have to start paying on the student loan until 6 months after they graduate from school. All right. Now let's go back. Just say we're accredited. A student goes online, you're going to get an OPE ID number. All right. That number is your school's number. So when a student goes online, like they're going to go to college, it's called a FAFSA, and they fill that out online. They're going to put your school's number in. And then you're going to get something called an ICE, or basically you're going to get a report where that student went online and they put your school's code in that they want to attend it. So you'll be able to call that student or whatever if they just went out on their computer and did it, or you can have them to fill it out in front of you at your school. Now, I want to share something with you all. There's a question on the FAFSA, the financial aid paper that they fill out. Have you ever been convicted of a felony? No, have you ever been convicted of a drug felony while receiving financial aid? That's a trick question. Most students have not been convicted of a drug felony while receiving financial aid. This is the trick. When they caught that dope case, 9 times out of 10, they were not in college receiving financial aid. When they caught that drug case, they probably weren't in any type of school. So the answer to that would be no, which means they would still qualify for financial aid. But that's how they trick a lot of these people with that question. So what I did, I always assisted the student in filling that out, or have my financial aid director to do that. So that's very important that you know that. I want to go over just the basic things, the most important with the financial aid. So a student fills out their financial aid. And they start school. This is probably the number one question that I'm always getting. When do I get my money and how do I get my money? Okay, this is how the financial aid works. Wish I could pull up a calculator on here, but that's okay. I'll just tell you all how it works. And y'all can get y'all's paper. You can write it down. Just say a student qualified for the full Pell Grant and the full student loans. You're doing both. Now, you don't have to do student loans if you don't want. There's a downside to the student loans. If for 2 years straight, you have a high default rate over 30%, meaning if 10 students start, 3 don't pay it back, then at 30% or whatever threshold, that means that 30% of your students didn't pay back their student loans. If that happens for 2 years straight, then they're going to take all of your financial aid, the Pell Grants included. So some schools stay away from financial aid as far as just the student loan part, but they do the Pell Grant because the Pell Grant is nothing for them to pay back because that's free money. So there are a lot of schools that do that. Now, even if you do the student loans, there are companies like WISS, Right International Financial, who will help keep your default rate kind of low. They'll call them, monitor it, let you know who's paying, who's not paying. But that's just a matter of preference. You as a school owner, what you want to do. You may just want to start out with the Pell Grants first to kind of get your feet wet. So just say a student started. We're doing this on a 1,500-hour program. Just say they started Monday. No, we'll just say Tuesday because most schools operate like that. So they qualify for a full Pell and full student loan. All right. This is a scenario. 10 students start Tuesday. Okay. Their financial aid is processed. They've already qualified for full Pell Grant loans and all of that. By Friday, the government is going to wire $3,000 for each one of those students to your bank account. I don't know if y'all understand that. Let me go through that again. Elena, George, Kendrick, Deborah. Hereby Myra, Jason, John, Karen, Keith, Kenny, Lamar, LaQuina, Lakeisha, Sean, 10, Vivian. If 10 students start your school, write 10 down on Tuesday. By Friday, they're going to wire $3,000 times 10. How much money is that in y'all's bank account, y'all? Does anybody know how much that is? Put in the chat box. Somebody put that in the chat box. How much money that is? I want to see if y'all listening. Okay. That's right, Jason, Vivian, 30. Yeah, y'all can count. Kenny, just see y'all like this part. Everybody want to respond to this. The Queen of Delana, 30,000. All right. Now, that was for the Pell Grant, right? But they qualify for $10,550. I know that, Kenny. We're going to get to that. They're going to break it down in 4 payments. Okay. They're not going to give you all the money up front to $10,550. They're going to break it down in 4 payments. Now, the student loans, they qualify for the student loans, for the Pell, for the sub and unsub. Once they've been there, them 10 students for 30 days, guess what, y'all? I want y'all to write down 4,750. Everybody write down 4,750. How many students do we have that started that first week? We had 10, right? 10 times 4,750 is $47,750. Somebody put that in there. Y'all like putting numbers in the chat box. Go ahead and put it in there. Okay. Now, so basically within 30 days for them 10 students, y'all are going to get how much? Y'all going to get this much, 77,000, right? 500, basically, for them 10 students, right? Because you're getting 30,000 for Pell, 47,050 for loans. So at the 30 days, you got $77,500. How does that sound, y'all? Does that sound good for 10 students? 10 clients. You did 10 clients the first month. See, now your clients are your students. What barber, stylist, nail tech, esthetician, whoever got 10 clients for 30 days and made $77,500. Now y'all don't forget about the clinic floor. Y'all don't forget about y'all vending machines. Y'all don't forget about y'all product sales. Y'all ain't doing no hair. Now y'all done fired all y'all clients. I ain't doing hair no more. Y'all only gonna do the people who y'all want to do. Now y'all want to get bougie on us. Now y'all clients, you gonna do my hair. I've been with you forever. That's what your client's gonna be telling you, Kenny, Deborah, Elena. I made you. Hair by Maya, Jason, John, Karen. Also, you're gonna do me like that, Keith, Kenny, Lamar, LaQueen. Also, now you gonna do that, Nikisha, Sean. I surely am. I can't do no more clients. So that's what happens. Now, does anybody know what happens when they hit 451 hours in a 1,500-hour course? What happens when they hit 451 hours, as long as they maintain a 67% attendance and at least a 70% grade point average, guess how much money they're going to send when they hit 451 hours for them 10 students? Anybody know? $77,500. Write that down. $77,500. Boom. At 451 hours. All right. But guess what? Miss Velma, my mentor, she mentored and coached me to enroll students every week. Every week. So the money guess what happened to the money? It just kept on going like this. You just kept traveling and shopping and buying cars and clothes and houses and just doing everything. Money just kept going like this, enrolling every week. Yeah, but what about module 1? I'm glad you asked. Module 1, 0 to 450 hours, They're learning the history of barbering or whatever, professional image, sanitation, okay, the hair cutting, because we want to get them ready to go slave on the clinic floor, shampooing. So now they're learning stuff that a student can come in any week and jump right in. Does that make sense? Okay, now, those same students, when they hit 901 hours, they're going to get the Pell grant. They're going to get $2,000 times 10. That's 20,000 when they hit 901. And then for the student loans, they're going to get 3,500. So now that's 55,000 at 901. So put that in. 55, hold on. 55,000 at 901. All at one time if they hit it at the same time. If they hit it at different times, they'll pay you based on each student. When they hit 1,201 hours, guess what happens, y'all? They're going to send you another 55,000. Boom. For 10 students for a 1,500-hour program, they qualify for a full Pell grant and a full student loan. I'm just giving y'all that scenario. Are y'all understanding how this is working? Is this making sense to everyone? I'm doing this off of a 1,500-hour course. Remember, because most programs are 1,500 hours. Now, just say it's a 600-hour course, 700, 750, 900,000, whatever your program is in your state. It's going to be prorated. But just for training purposes, I'm just doing this off of a scenario of 1,500 hours, how it works. Now, for 1,000 hours and all of that you're going to get less money. Okay.
And this is off a $10,000 tuition?
No, this right here, this is, yeah, now we got to share this. I was going to get to this part, but I'll go ahead and tell y'all this right now. When you become accredited, the day that you become accredited or whatever, on your enrollment agreement, this is what we're going to do. All of y'all look, when you become accredited, you're going to get your enrollment agreement out. And guess what you're going to do? You're going to raise the price. Now, just say you have a 1,500-hour course. I'm using that as an example. You definitely going to have your price at least $12,000 or $11,000. Why? Because a student may come in and qualify for a full Pell grant. And we know that's $10,550, right? Imagine this. Well, I'm going to keep my course at 8,000 or whatever, 8,500. Okay. A student comes in, they qualify for a full Pell. Once the government has paid that 8,500 off, you still got 2,000 left, right? Guess what you got to do with that 2,000? Give it to the student. You don't want to give them nothing. You spend all of these years working hard, babysitting these bad students and all that. You want all of it. So you're going to, well, how are you going to raise your price? Get on your computer and change the price. Oh, well, that's against the law. No, it's not. I don't know who told you that stupid stuff. No, it ain't. All the schools do it. They've been doing it for years. My mentor, Miss Velma, taught me everything, and I'm sharing it with you all. Oh, so we can just put a zero? Let me tell y'all something. I was listening to a Jeezy song, Mr. 17.5. I don't know if y'all listen to rap. I was just listening to that years ago, y'all. I got mad and jealous because my tuition wasn't 17.5. I said, I raised my tuition to 20,000 from that song. Raised it to 20,000. For years, I was getting 20,000. Oh, you can do that? You surely can. Paul Mitchell, Aveda, Empire, all them 25, 30,000, whatever. You can do whatever you want to do. Ain't no law against that. So the minute you get accredited, raise your prices. Hopefully that answered y'all's question. Now, when you raise your prices, let them know that You're going to hire more staff. If you got to do an explanation, you're going to upgrade the facility. You're going to make the kit better, whatever. You can put that in there. But I'm just telling y'all, raise your prices because you don't want to be giving back all of these refunds because you deserve to be compensated. You may want to give a student a little something if you want to have your tuition like that. But I'd have my tuition where they got to give something. They got to put a little skin in the game. I don't care if it's $500 or $1,000 for the whole course, something. So let's see. $2,000 you have to give back. Yeah, y'all can make where y'all have to give them nothing. You're the school owner. However y'all want to do it. That's your discretion. Now, hopefully that kind of breaks down how that works. Now, if your program is under 600 hours, 600 clock hours, guess what? You've gone through accreditation because you can get any program accredited that's 150 hours or more. All right. So you done gone through the accreditation, did all of that, and your program less than 600 hours. Great. You're accredited. Now you go and apply for the U.S. Department of Education. And guess what? You get turned down. Why? Because the rules and the regulations, according to the federal student aid, the U.S. Department of Education, and Title IV funding, your program must be a minimum of 600 hours. But mine's 550, you ain't getting no government money. Mine's $5, you ain't getting no government money. But what about a 300-hour course? I told you, if it's not 600 hours or more, I'm gonna put it in layman's terms, you ain't getting no money. All right. That's why you don't see Paul Mitchell, Aveda, Empire, none of them. You don't see no programs under 600 hours. You know why? They can't get no money. Bottom line. So I'm sharing.
Hey,
yes, go ahead.
but can't you take like a 300-hour, like your state required 300 hours for a course? Can't you require at your school for them to do 600?
In order to do that, you must first go before the state board and ask the state board to get approval for your state board to approve that. If not, you can't. So what you would have to do is submit to the state board asking, requesting that. And if the state board approves that, then you can. So in most cases, the state board may allow you to do that because you're increasing the hours. Of course, if it's state board approved that it's 600 hours and you want to tell the board, I just want to do 300, no. But if you tell them you want to add more hours because of COVID and sanitation purposes and the students are not being prepared or whatever, have some type of, a good explanation like that, then they may allow you to add those hours. But we can't sit here and say they are. That's not 100% fact. They may. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Another question. See, I think were you saying since like in Texas it's no longer 1,500 hours, it's 1,000 hours now. So were you saying that you said something about less money?
Right.
So the schools that was already accredited in Texas, that was when there was 1,500 hours, so they get less money per student now. Now that there's 1,000 hours.
Correct. Because remember, the way that a 1,500-hour course is broke down, you get 0 to 450, 451 to 900, 901 and to 1201 to 1,500. The less amount of hours, the less amount the government is going to pay. It's just like when we go to, I guess, even college, if you take 1,500, if you take 15 hours versus 18 hours or 12 hours, those are credit hours is less. So the way the government has it set up, if there's a program, if it's 1,500, 1,000, 900, 750, 600, the lower the hours, the less they're going to get approved for in financial aid because of the hours. But I did.
I was at the state board meeting when they was talking about reducing those hours, and the question from the schools they were all asking if they can still do 1,500 if they want to, right? And they said, yeah, they can still do 1,500 if they want to, but the state is already recognizing 1,000 as far as a requirement. That's
Right.
what in the state of Texas, that's what they were saying at
Yeah,
the board meeting.
you can still do the 1,500. The only flip side to that, a lot of these students, when they get ready to go to school, some of them will call each school and ask questions. And
Yeah.
if Sally's doing 1,000 and Jimmy say you got to do 1,500, which school you think they're gonna choose?
True. I know I choose 1,000.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So now we're understanding now, what if a student quits? Good question. Do I got to send all that money back? No, it's based on scheduled hours. Just say you got your first disbursement, and we know that was $3,047.50. So that was $7,750. If a student did 200, if it was a 1,500-hour clock, and they did 270 hours, scheduled hours. What I mean by schedule, if they scheduled to do 40 hours a week, and they've been there a month, that's 4 weeks, right? That's 160 scheduled hours. But what if they only did 80 hours? The refund calculation, you're going to have it based off of scheduled hours. You know why? Because you rather refund based on scheduled hours of 160 for that first month versus 80 hours. Because the more hours that you can tally up for the school, the less money you got to send back to the government. So if they had 270 scheduled hours, because they've been there for a month and a half, almost 2 months or whatever, and they only did 150 hours, that refund would be based off of the 270 scheduled hours, which means if they had 270 scheduled hours, you wouldn't have to send none of that money back. But that's 7750. Does that make sense, y'all? Now,
But on that note, though, is there anything you got to prove? Like, are you gonna say the student actually did those hours, or
no,
do they
remember,
care?
when a student signs up on your enrollment agreement, it has what schedule they're going to do, whether part-time, full-time, 30 hours a week, 40 hours a week, right? So
Okay.
if they signed up full-time, 40 hours a week, and they quit after 2 months, how many weeks is that? 2 months. How many weeks is that? How many weeks?
8 weeks.
8 weeks. What did they sign up for? How many hours a week? 40,
40.
right? Okay.
Let's see.
4 times 8 is what? 4 times 8 is 32, right? Add a 0.
320.
So that means what? You get to keep all the money. Correct? Because it's over 270 hours. Scheduled hours. Even if they just did 160. Now, the reason why financial aid is set up for the school owners to get rich, is this making sense? You see how y'all didn't have to give nothing back based on the scheduled hours, even if the student only did 160 actual hours? Is this making sense? Now, we didn't set the rules. They set them, and they set the rules for them to win. So if you can't beat them, join them. Is this making sense? The way that they set, my mentor was Miss Velma. I don't have to go there. Y'all know who Miss Velma is. Y'all know what she looks like and all that. That was my best friend. She taught me this and told me all this. They set it up for them to win. Now, there are instances, if they did, okay, well, what if they did 200 scheduled hours? Okay, they sent you 7,750. So now you're going to have to prorate it. And when you prorate it, you're going to have to give back peanuts. All right? It's set up for them to win. When I say them, you, the school owner. So that's how the financial aid works. That's why y'all see all these schools with financial aid, and I'm not going to go down that road or whatever, that are rich. I just broke this down to y'all how my mentor, Ms. Velma, they was doing over $1 million a month. I mean, I don't have to, I've shown y'all her and all of that. We're talking about financial aid. Making this type of money and you live below your means, you can do financial aid for 1 year and live below your means and start buying real estate, buy a lot and get a house built. Miss Velma had me to buy some land. We're talking about 22 years. Why am I gonna buy this piece of land? Ain't nothing on it. I get the land, I get the deed. I take the deed to the bank, she tell me to. I get a house built based off of the deed. Didn't have to spend no money. Turn around, the house is finished, sell the house and walk away with almost $200,000 profit. You could have financial aid for 1 year and manage your money and be rich the rest of your life and never have to work another day. You could close your school down the next year if you wanted to. So this is very important. We're not just talking about financial aid. We're talking about generational wealth for your kids and your kids' kids. We're talking, once you get the financial aid, if you invest it right, you're going to make more money than financial aid. The government gave me 17 million. Okay, duh. But I did real estate, started at 22 years ago. That was more than what the government gave me. So it's very important that we do this school program. Yeah, you're going to make a lot of money. Once you get the accreditation financial, yeah, you're going to get a lot of money. That's a given. But I just wanted to break down how the financial aid works, because a lot of people, there's a lot of myths out there and people saying this and saying that. So I'm breaking it down to y'all of how this money works. They wire it to your bank account. It's your money. You own the school. Okay, you got 500,000 in your account. You can write yourself a check. I would do it through paychecks and pay the taxes. You can take a draw if you have an LLC. You can take a draw. Yes, you can. You go buy a building. All right, go buy a building and get it an LLC and your school and have a realtor company. Your school is going to pay rent to your real estate company. So now the money's going around in a circle. Does that make sense? So now we're getting even into more technical stuff. Some of y'all didn't catch that. You have a real estate company, LLC. It buys a building, okay? You got your school. You own the school too. The school can pay your real estate company. Hell, you can charge them $10,000 a month for rent. You can charge them $15,000 a month for rent. Your school is paying your real estate company rent. It's your money. The money's going in a circle, tax purposes and all that. So it gets really big, y'all. This is bigger than working in a shop and all of that. That's why I stress the school. And I tell y'all, the government, hell, I'm a convicted felon. How does that look? I'm a convicted felon on federal parole, and the government was paying me all this money. Only in America. Ain't no law against that. Now, had I embezzled money to go to federal prison, there are laws where I couldn't get no federal money or whatever, but I didn't embezzle. I was a cocaine dealer. Are there any questions on the financial aid? If not, then I'll end with the accreditation. I'll show y'all some of the schools. Y'all got any questions on this financial aid stuff?
I don't have a question about that financial aid, but I do have a question about like it before we get financial aid and we're charging the actual students to attend school. If they don't finish paying their tuition before it's time to graduate, how did that work?
Okay. If they don't pay all the tuition by the time they graduate, if it was a student that was respectful, that did what they were supposed to do, that came, had a great attitude, me personally, I would help that student out. I believe in helping my people. If it was a student that was disruptive, had a bad attitude, did not want to submit to authority, cause problems, I probably wouldn't release their hours. It just depends on what God told me to do. If it was a woman with children and was raising these kids and working and all that, I'm giving her hours. Bottom line, she's taking that test, and I'm probably gonna give her some money to even help her out. If it was a guy that's in the same situation, I'm gonna give him his hours and I'm gonna help him out. So that's a personal call for only you all, and you all would know what to do in those situations like that. Because you have the power to do whatever, because you're the school owner.
Let's go, let's go!